Welcome, AfterBuzzers. You're watching the after show for Queen Sugar, episode 8, where tonight we talk Prosper's move, Darla steps up, and Violet makes her pitch. Stay tuned for more.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
What's up, guys? We are back. We got a panel of 4. We're down one host, but we got a replacement host in, so thank you for joining us.
Of course. Hi, everybody. I'm Thelma Mbaezue-Daniel, and I'm so blessed to be here.
Thank you for joining us. And again, we have myself, Shaka Smith, and my beautiful co-host.
Well, hello there, guys. It's always a pleasure to be back every single week. It is your girl, Miss Candi Marie. Let's go.
And the adobo is back. The sazon is back. Your favorite Afro-Latina from Celi Chapman is here.
Yeah, we like it like that. We got so much to talk about. If you guys are in the chat, make sure you talk, you ask us some questions, some comments. We're going to try to get back to you as much as we can throughout the show. But we got to get into it.
Let's get to it.
Wow, this was an episode. The teaser for next week's episode, I could talk about that all day long, but let's talk about this one. What were your overall thoughts of this episode?
Okay, so this episode was definitely a little more interesting than last episode. Quite a few emotions going on, a lot of emotions. I was looking for my boy Romero. He was not there. But you know what? Overall great episode. Yeah.
Listen, my blood pressure was rising, so I definitely felt a lot of emotion. This episode made me feel like, yes, Queen Sugar, these is the reasons why I love this show. Yeah. And we'll get into that later.
I love it because when I watched you during the episode, she's like writing, but her head is just moving as she's writing. I love that.
For me, it had to be that title, Come Clad In Peace.
Yeah.
And I think right there, we have a big shout out to Erika Johnson, who was the writer of this episode. And I think this episode really brought it back to serenity, and we had a lot of peace and a lot of people coming to terms with the facts of their lives right now. So I'm really excited to see how the characters are really come to terms with all of that.
Yeah, that's a great observation. Yeah, I do felt like there was turmoil, but people were kind of settled in the turmoil, so they're just dealing with it. There were some moments I thought should have been more explosive, but people kind of held back. So, really great episode. But we're going to talk at the top, Prosper's big move. For me, it was sad because here's someone who's not wanting to accept the move and not even wanting to accept help. What did you guys think about, I thought that scene with Vi was actually very powerful. What do you guys think about that? And of course, Charley as well, stepping in.
I'm just happy that Prosper has them. He has a family that isn't his blood, but they're still there. They're still making him feel at home. I agree with you about the brokenheartedness. That's all I said. This home is all I have. When he said that, I was like, wow, my heart just broke. And I just hope that it doesn't break him. Yeah. You know?
It's one of those things where, like, I have such a soft spot for elderly people. Like, I'm just like, I love them so much, and I love Prosper, and I love him in real life. I got to meet him in real life at the NAACP Image Awards, and he's just so gracious and so sweet and so loving, and it does break your heart. It does make you feel like, man, we need to do more, especially in the world we're living in now. It's getting harder and harder for older folks to live past their retirement. And so how do we prepare ourselves? I think the show is really showing us of how the generation that's going to have to take care of them, how do we prepare? Because even his own daughter, he felt like, I don't want to be in her way.
Absolutely.
She has too much going on. She's raising her kids. So it's like, we're not even prepared to take care of our parents. Yeah. And that's a big thing.
Yeah, but as a society, I definitely think we're defined by how we treat our vulnerable. So that's our old, that's our elderly. Right. So it's just so beautiful to see them be there for Proctor in that way. But it was also a little bit telling to this underlining thread we see in their family where everyone wants to bend over backwards for everyone else, but is never there for themselves. So Vi is sitting there, she's talking to Prosper, and she's telling him, hey, if you needed help, you would tell me, right? But Vi, look in the mirror.
Right.
You need help. You need help
look in the mirror
right now, and you're not asking for it. And it's really sad.
Thelma came to deliver today. All right, girl.
You know I love this show, Candi. You know.
Yes.
Come on, girl.
Yeah, that's what I thought was so interesting, because we had Prosper just telling over before about how Ernest was pretending to be strong but wasn't all together, and here you are doing the same thing. So sometimes we can know, but we don't necessarily live our truth.
It's so easy to be so much for everybody else and then nothing for ourselves.
Yes.
It's so easy to put everybody else before us. That's what every single person in this whole show has in common is that they put everybody else before themselves.
Yeah.
And that's why we love them so much. We love their selfishness. I mean, their selflessness.
Yeah.
But then there's also a little bit of selfishness.
And somehow they think pretending to be strong is strong, but we see that's like what could break them.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
it's also, as has happened before, right, with their father. And you're talking about, when Nova is telling Ralph Angel, this is how Dad passed away. This is how he ran himself to the ground.
Right.
So it's everyone keeps doing the same thing that we've seen other people pass away from.
Cycle. It's a
Exactly.
cycle.
And then you think of Anva, you are actually sick.
Yeah.
There's so many people who are suffering from lupus in the United States, like millions, 1.3 million, a lot of people,
Right.
Yeah.
90% of which are women. So it's like, I really wish she would stand in her power more and not use it as a way of a victim thing, instead own it a little more.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can understand why you're saying that, but at the same time, it's just like, I mean, when has she ever been able to be vulnerable?
Right.
You know, she's had to always be this strong person from the very beginning, from even back when their mom passed away. She's always been, she's the matriarch of their family, but she's still a mother figure to them. So I don't think she really knows how to be vulnerable or how to show weakness.
Even though intellectually she knows it's probably a great idea to be able to exhibit that, she just doesn't know how to. I think all the characters in this show don't know how to.
Right.
And honestly, people of color,
Yeah.
Come on.
and so yes, there is this idea around Black men hiding their pain, Black women hiding their pain, and the importance of seeking therapy and people really working through their issues and their traumas. Yes, and it's very difficult to do so when you live in a society and in a country that kind of leans on and kind of takes advantage of when they are vulnerable, the vulnerable.
Absolutely.
So if I, as a person of color, people come and just take things from me when I'm giving a little, the fact that she finally came clean and told this man that she had lupus and how he switched up that fast.
Yeah.
I mean, it broke my heart
was
to
her
watch
fear.
it because
It was
I'm
sad
like,
for her.
man, I was hoping the writers were going to do something different, but they're giving us reality.
But
But-
technically,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I think I'm going to say the same thing I was going to say. Right?
technically, we don't really know if he
Right.
switched up.
we don't.
He switched up in the right way, right?
I mean, he could have just been showing a little bit of sympathy.
True.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hope.
look,
That's what we're hoping for.
Because to be honest, for all we know, maybe he was just trying to light a fire,
Well, again,
know?
okay, so
trying
then
to push her a little bit.
transparent moment. Then again, that's a moment for me as a woman of color in this country. My subconscious being triggered of that fear for my.
Of not being able to do it all,
Right.
because you guys are hitting it right on the nail. That's exactly what it is.
And having
Because-
to prove ourselves.
Absolutely, because it's everyone wants to be a superwoman, but that's also amazing and sweet, but it's also really scary and it's not safe.
And I think as minorities, we have this idea that if we get a shot, that is the only shot.
Right.
So she's thinking to herself, if she can't do this now and perform now, it's gone. The entire deal is
gone.
gone.
And she said,
And then we have to still give her credit because of the growth.
Yes.
She was
Yeah.
not able to have this conversation a few episodes ago.
Yeah.
She
For sure.
wasn't able to open her mouth and say, I have this weakness, because that's basically what she said. She wanted
Yeah.
to hide from it. She was trying to cover it up. She didn't even want to voice those words out of her mouth. So again, there's growth that we've seen that the writers have again brought to another episode.
Yeah.
So I like these layers that we're seeing come out of.
Yeah, and I personally didn't know what it would look like to kind of have an attack. So I thought they did that very nicely in terms of kind of for the viewer, because I've never known anyone with lupus, so I didn't know what it means when she
Right.
says she can have good days and bad days.
Oh.
No,
So,
she,
yeah.
you know what she actually said? I have good days and better days, which
Yeah,
was
of
so
course,
great
yeah.
to know her attitude in all
Right.
of this. She's still envi, she's still strong.
There's a way to project that strength,
That's
yeah.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
And be
She's still
vulnerable.
standing in her
Yes.
truth,
Right.
you know?
And when he asked, "Can I take you home?" I thought she was gonna say no.
Oh no, she
Am
knew
I
better.
the only one that thought? I thought she was gonna say no and try and take herself home, or she was gonna call somebody. That still shows growth within her
for sure.
character.
Yeah,
Exactly.
No, I knew she was gonna. I mean, the acting was so good there. I was like,
Yeah.
she knows she's not. She can't get home. No way.
And I was feeling the same way. I was like, girl, you better act, because I did go to college with a woman who had lupus. And imagine, you know, I'm 19, 20, and this girl literally has a whole rack of pills that she has to take every day. 10 to 12 pills a day. You know, and some days were good and some days were better. She is Aunt Vi. We used to call her Grandma Candi because although she was 19, her body was like an older person. And she was in the theater with us, and she had that same attitude like Aunt Vi. Like, it's like, well, I'm going to rehearsal, and some days she can go through the whole choreography, and some days she had to sit through it. So it's like, watching as a viewer, I'm so thankful of the authenticity because I'm like, I've seen it, I know this, and it just shows. So kudos to her.
Yeah, and you know, you guys make a really good point, because at the end of the day, a great deal of being there for yourself and having that growth is knowing when you need help, and being able to be honest with yourself about that. So even though she hasn't fully come to the place where she can be honest with her family, at least she's starting to be honest with herself.
It is heartbreaking because you know how much she wants it. You saw her rehearsing there. The rehearsal pitch was beautiful, so like you just know how much she badly wants it. So hoping she gets that fruition. But again, what we love here is having these conversations and learning so much from these dramas that we watch, and there are other dramas you can get a hold of on AfterBuzz.
Come on now, AfterBuzzers. Our network produces after shows for nearly all your favorite TV shows, from dramas, reality, sci-fi, and all of that. So there's no network that works harder to serve television fans than us right here.
Right, Joe?
But we need your help. So we're asking you to please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our channel, YouTube will suggest content that Taylor's made for you, and you'll help AfterBuzz continue to grow, which is AfterBuzz TV Dramas, if you didn't know. That's where Queen Sugar is. And if you're worried about the pesky notifications, don't worry, because they're optional. So hit the subscribe button now on the channel and check out our other AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. Let us know that you did in the comments, and we'll thank you on air. For now, thanks for being the best fans and for helping us be the ESPN of TV Talk.
Yes, we love you guys.
And since we're subscribing, you might as well subscribe on iTunes as well.
Right.
You know, while you're at it.
Do the whole deal.
And you know what? Also follow us on Instagram.
Give us 5 stars.
This is a part of your self-care.
Exactly. I like it.
5 stars on the iTunes, please. Thanks.
Now we got to get to the other topic. We're just going to get right into it. Darla steps up. I mean, I say steps up because I guess it was a good thing.
No, she bossed up. How about that?
She has arrived.
She bossed up.
Darla has arrived.
But sometimes you can arrive and miss the boat, right? And so
Where you going, bro? Where you going?
I just think there's certain things you don't say, certain things you don't touch. You don't touch daddy. She was like, oh, your daddy got this house for you.
Well,
so,
he threw the first shot.
Wait. He definitely threw that first shot. I heard it.
It's like a battle of the sexes thing we got going on right now. So what's up? What you got?
It just was it just seemed to be a lower blow than needed. You know, of course, like his father's dead. You know, like, come on.
I'm gonna be the referee. How about that? Yeah. All right, Celi.
No. I agree. I think both hurt people. I think they're both hurting. Yeah. I think they're both hurting each other, and it's not okay. I don't think what either one said is okay. But at the same time, Darla did boss up in the sense of the Darla I knew before. When it comes to him, she walks on eggshells. When it comes to him, it's about pleasing him and making sure he's okay, because he's been through so much and he stepped up for me and I was the drug addict. And she's no longer victimizing. You no longer get to punish me. This stops now. And that's the only I'm not either. They were both wrong, but kudos to her to finally being in a place of her strength and her self-worth and like, look.
I don't agree.
I agree completely, because at the end of the day, we are not our biggest mistakes. Okay? Ooh. And Ralph Angel, so many times have people been there for you, and there's this narrative that we have to cater to the male ego. And it is just unnecessary.
Come on now.
You know, and shout out to Lena, you know, who came on Saturday and told us your ego is not your amigo. And I think for both of them. So when you want to step into spiritual healing, first he has to feel all the things that he's feeling, you know, because all of that is coming from pain. It's coming from him feeling like he's not good enough, like he's unworthy. He wants to belong, but he doesn't belong because he's not really in that family. He's still dealing with all of that. So for him to look at Darla, of course, it's a slippery slope for her because, girl, you cannot be self-righteous, okay? But for him to look at her and try to derail her growth, That was terrible.
Yes.
Especially after they just had that mature moment of
Wait.
exchanging the keys. I thought it was going well.
I gotta jump in there. Girl, come on over here. Yes. Listen to me, damn it. Look. Listen, y'all know I'm about to give it to you. Listen to me. I am so proud of Darla. I agree with you 100%. And I am sick and tired. Ralph Angel, I have loved you since day one, but not today. Listen, I'm sick and tired of you trying to throw this girl off. I agree. Don't try and derail her. She has accomplished so much. Just because her parents helped her does not mean that you can throw that against her.
The same way his daddy helped him.
Exactly, and that's all I'm saying.
But I am proud. I
am proud of the woman that she was become.
While he was in jail, who was taking care of him?
Oh, in that way.
Exactly.
Who was putting money in his books?
I'm talking about the house.
Exactly.
Let him land. And why are we speaking about this? Like, this is not what your parents do. This is
This
is what's supposed to
happen.
No.
Has supported him.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Darla is, I mean, I don't know what in the
She
show.
comes from
How old is she?
money.
How old? Yeah, like she's what, maybe 30 in the show, and her
That's
parents have
not
bought her a
her
brand new
fault,
home.
though. That's not her fault.
But when you look at what's happened recently, this is not like 3 years ago this went down. Like he just found out Blue's not his. It's been maybe a year and a half or 2 years since she's not been doing what she was doing before. So she's making, and she might feel ready, but she has to, the timeline, Blue's in school. Why are you changing this up so quickly and you've come down with this new money? I think that you should give it some thought as to what you're doing to Ralph Angel after you've dropped all these bombs on him at once, and then now middle school year you're saying, oh, I want 50-50, I'm going to disrupt Blue's life.
No. At what point in time does she stop paying for her mistakes, though? When does she stop paying for her mistakes and she becomes the mother that Blue needs? At the end of the day, it's about Blue. Blue needs not only a great father but also a great mother. So at what point in time is it going to be like, you know what, I have paid my dues?
Maybe 8 months in, but it hasn't been that long.
Shaka, you know what? I'll give you this. There has been a difference in the way that she has returned to society than the way that Ralph Angel has returned to society. And I think that also speaks to the differences with men and women, black men and women, when they're returning to society. So we get that. But at the end of the day, Candi's absolutely right. She's doing everything in her power to stay sane and to stay civil. But I think that Ralph Angel is stepping into a place where his blockers and his blinders and his emotional blinders are on, and he's not realizing that he's starting to just poke a little too hard. Because when she looked at him at that gas station, that was crossing the line. Who is Tris? You're talking about 8 months. I'm his Tran. You're talking about 8 months in. I'm his mom. Did she get any time before she was introduced to the family and came over to all of these, picking up my son, hanging out with my son?
There wasn't a conversation.
Well, the thing is,
and that was definitely crossing the line.
That's crossing the line for anyone.
Yes, and the reality is it comes down to they're both wrong because they're both operating from their emotions. She's operating from an emotional place of feeling attacked when he'll say things like, we're gonna take things slow. She automatically gets defensive, and so she countered on that. Like he's wanting things slow because he wants more control.
But wasn't that the right thing to say? Let's take things slow just for the interest of Blue.
No, I get you. But again, they're both operating from emotion. We cannot deny that there's not a part of him trying to keep control because he's afraid Blue's going to love this house and forget about him.
No, of course.
They're both operating from emotion at the end of the day. And so they're both fighting for power. They're both fighting for control because they're both afraid to lose their kid.
To me, this was the first time I saw Ralph Angel actually exhibit some sort of like, we can work together as parents.
Yes.
He's coming, like before you felt the tension in the room.
Right.
This one, he's looking at the house. It felt like, okay, we can maybe work something out. And it's like the minute she got an opening, she's like, boom, 50-50. And it just seemed callous to me. Like you already know what you've done to this man in a very recent amount of time.
I'll agree.
I agree.
Wait till summer, and then we talk about 50-50.
She needs to be a little more like Charley, a little more calculated in her timing.
But that comes with time, though.
Yes.
That comes with time, and I agree. I do think she is hurt. She is very hurt because she saw another woman that could potentially replace her.
And I don't think she gets to the 50-50 if she didn't see Trent. I don't think she comes to that idea.
You know what? I agree with you 100%. And I also think that he is afraid that Darla is taking him away. He already told me he's not my son, and now you're trying to pull him away, and then she hit him with the what? 30-70? 70-30?
Yeah. Well, that's next episode.
She started off with the 50-50, and then he wasn't really going ball, and she was like, okay, now I'm just really going to take it off.
So already from the preview, I know she's real petty. But
the truth is, you guys are all right. They're operating from her. I think that she, again, you have to address the pain that you're feeling, which is, first of all, what are we doing here? Because there's just so much going on between them. Whether they end up together or not, I think that neither of them are necessarily only operating from the goodness of Blue.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we all operate from hurt. In some ways, you have no choice. You have to keep living, right? But he's operating, to me, from hurt and reason. And she's just, like, operating from hurt. Like, what she's asking for is not reasonable at this time for Blue. Because all of a sudden, he's got to start living there. She's got to take him to school 1 week, and then he's going to... It just seems like you want to make that transition a little bit slower. I mean, what is it, like
I'm
6?
I'm going to say this. How do we know that it's not working for Blue? Because to be honest, based off of Blue's, because Blue, his character has matured a lot as well. I really feel like it's going to come down to, and maybe this is a prediction, but I feel like it's going to possibly come down to them having a conversation with Blue, because he is old enough to be able to voice his opinion and say what he wants. And I feel like that might happen because they have been very vocal with him, and he's been very vocal with what he's wanted.
Yeah, it just seems to me that they have so much room for them to negotiate and compromise, where it could be summers or with you and Christmas and holiday, but it didn't even get there because she was kind of moving a little bit too quick for me.
Well, but Blue did say, I want to live with
mommy. Yeah, he was operating off of hurt too. You know, kids are only learning from their parents. They're all just a cycle of hurt.
It's a little bit of a mess, but it's we just see at the end his character Ra just kind of the same thing we saw with Prosper. And I thought that was such a lot of times we're talking about the show that the female characters and their turmoil, but I think we're really seeing like the men's turmoil being elevated in the last couple of episodes.
Absolutely.
Which is so important.
Yeah.
Because black men pain, Lord have mercy. It's so heavy because they do suppress it for so long. And that's the moment when Nova was telling Ralph, I literally was like, this is why I love this show.
Yeah.
You know, mental health, suicide prevention. Like, and that's the thing. It is taboo in the black community. It's like, no.
You saw Ra's reaction.
Black men don't do that.
Yeah.
Black men don't take their lives. Yes, they do.
Yeah.
At alarming rates. And we need to talk about this. And most of the time it's because of that. They don't talk to anyone. You know, so it was great. And she's like, is this the path you want to be on? And shout outs to the Hennessy. I was like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, okay.
But they took it like some champs. They took it like champs. They didn't even like,
you know what? But honestly, that's real. Man, black folks, they bond over the Hennessy. It's real.
It's real.
Right.
It's real.
And honestly, I think with a lot of black men, the way that they release is through smoking. Drinking.
But that's also
sex.
Again,
we talked about
sex. It's all just
covering up.
Covering up. But you're absolutely right when you talk about Ralph Angel and finding out about his dad. I think that when he found out about his father's suicide, it really freed him from a lot of his emotional turmoil. And after that was when he was like, you know what? I don't have to run myself to the ground. I can live, you know, a happy life. And when Tran. When she was asking, you know, so are you still gonna pick up the shifts? He was like, no, you know, I'm not. So I like that was a switch for him, and he really took that to heart.
Yeah, I think that was important. And we have another guy, Micah, going through turmoil, but we see he's going to express it a little bit differently.
Starting the revolution.
I'm not, I mean...
I have so many thoughts about this kid.
My initial thing, I don't know what it is, but Micah still, for me, has this sort of... He looks a little soft. And so to me, I'm just like,
what does that mean? Define soft.
And so, it just seems so out of place for me to see him in this role. And did you guys feel that? Well, to me, hearing those two words, "I'm in," wasn't happy about it.
I will say this.
But you weren't happy about it because you think he can't really be down?
He's not ready for this level of being in, is what I'm saying. Like.
How do you get ready if this is not the side of the tracks you ever grew up in? You don't know it, and
so you don't do it. You just know this is not for me. Well, here's what I'm saying.
Okay,
wait. They're planning to like do some like serious work.
I get that.
They're like vandalizing.
Question for you. And I'm gonna take it back.
Yeah.
In the 60s, right?
Yeah.
There were plenty of white people that were marching with black folks. And if it wasn't for that, the civil rights movement wouldn't have happened the way it did. We needed both to come together. Now, plenty of those white boys and white girls that were sitting in the counters don't know struggle, don't come from that, probably scared out their minds, but they they felt compelled
for a higher cause that was so much greater.
It is a higher cause for him.
This is not, you can't eat the same, this is not Jim Crow laws.
I absolutely have to argue that all the way down, because the truth of the matter is, when you're doing something, your intention determines everything. It determines the outcome and determines what you're doing, why you're doing what you're doing. And I think that his actions are rooted in conviction. The things that they believe in, they're not just doing it to show out or just to be rebellious children. They're doing it because they believe in what they're doing. And what did his friend say? If you don't believe in our history, you can't have our history.
Yes.
So I will say that he,
they're taking selfies in front of the place.
No, we're
this
a
is
little
about
scared
selfies.
for Micah, but we see him taking Nova's route, right? And then we see him taking that route of wanting to be a freedom fighter and wanting to go.
Wait a minute. Nova's writing articles. He's about to go tag. He's the lookout.
Now she's writing articles, but she didn't always. She wasn't always writing articles.
I'll say this. I have to side with both of you at certain things. I think that he is being a little influenced, but I think it's because of all of the things that he went through, all the pain. He's trying to find a way to release it.
Yeah.
He's trying to find a way to deal with it because he's angry. He's still having flashbacks. He's still dealing with those moments. He needs to go to therapy to deal with that.
Sure.
I will say this. I think that some of those kids, some of them are genuinely passionate about what they're doing, and I'm not so sure about some of the other ones. But I will say that I think, and I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think that everybody is about the cause. I think that some of them are just kind of going along with it because it's the thing to do. And I think that Micah is conflicted. I think that he is conflicted. That's why we saw the flashbacks of him going to jail. That's why we saw the flashbacks of him with the police officer. Because in his mind, he is conflicted with the choices that he wants to make on how to express and deal with this situation.
And the laws they broke in the 60s were the laws so that they could do the things that other people could do. It was, I can sit at the counter like anyone else. Right. I can be on the bus like anyone else. It wasn't, I'm going to go vandalize something so he's going to break a law to prove a point. So he's obviously going about this in the wrong way, and it's over at selfies. We're not talking about our basic right.
You can't. You can't reduce it to selfies.
The woman,
that's not just selfies.
So did the woman who climbed up to the top of Statue of Liberty?
Behind the selfies,
did she not?
The meaning behind it.
She broke the law to prove a point.
Yeah.
She went to jail for going to the top of the Statue of Liberty to prove a point.
Yeah.
So it all depends on, it really comes down to opinion and perspective. If your opinion is that for some people, the opinion could be breaking the law is pointless because the laws have changed in 2018 and la la la.
Yeah.
Or it could be, I'm trying to drive something home, that what's happening here in this community is wrong. And specifically in the South, specifically in a place like New Orleans, there's still a lot of trifling things happening.
They could be protesting. They could be doing any number of things that are visible,
a form of protest.
that are legal. And when you're in school and you're in high school, this is the wrong route. And especially for Michael, who looks like he would be the first one caught. So you ever been in a group when you plot something and you know that they're going to be the first one caught? That's Micah.
Oh, he's the first one caught. But I'll say this. My thing is this. If you have a resource in Nova, why don't you use it? Nova is a professional. I get it. You guys want to make...
Call Auntie Nova.
Exactly. You want to be on social media. You want to make a big woo-ha, whatever the hell y'all want to make about it. But my thing is do it the right way. Are you doing it for social media? Are you doing it for likes? Or are you doing it because you genuinely want people to hear what you have to say? And I'm not so sure right now. And to be honest with you.
And they might be setting him up to take the fall if it comes to that. Because remember, Kiki was like, I don't hang out with them anymore.
I was just about to speak to that.
Yeah,
I see a real mirroring effect. Even last episode when Kiki said, I do things my way and they do things their way.
Exactly.
And then you hear again. So Aja kind of takes this, and I hate to kind of bring it back to the Nova thing, but she just lives on that line, that rebellious line, a little more than Charley does, who's more tactful. So I think you see that mirroring effect when you speak about Micah being in a torn position, trying to figure out who he is, or more importantly, how he wants to go about being who he is. Right. I think that he's seen Nova and Asha in one place, and he's seen Kiki and his mom in another place, and he's really trying to decide, who am I? How do I navigate through this? Yeah.
Let's also not forget that his dad just dropped a bomb on him. His dad just said, you have a 13-year-old sister. So this young man is dealing with so much. All he has this group of people that are doing all these rebellious things, and that is his outlet. He is releasing through those actions, and that's why I'm just like, he's not ready for this. He needs to take some time, sit his butt down, talk to his mama. They need to both have a conversation because they both going through hell right now,
and not talking
and
about
they
it
need to
to
deal
each
with
other.
it. Talk to each other, and we said that in last week's episode, or was that the week before last? But nobody can empathize with what they're going through more than them.
Yes, I agree.
Well, what I would say is I love the way that Charley and Nova came together on this episode to kind of like find out what's going on with the Landrys. But it was that bittersweet because you kind of know the other shoe's about to drop.
Momentarily.
So, I didn't want to talk about the previews, but
no, but in general, I'm just like, wow, like here's Charley protecting her sister. Like, look, I don't want you to be implicated. Like, thank you so much for the help.
Yeah.
Holding it down. And I'm like, is guilt not eating at you? Like gnawing at you? Like, is the grasshopper of consciousness? Because I'm like, wow, like, and the awkwardness of like, oh, so who's the mystery man? Oh,
and we've seen Nova do this before. We've seen her make mistakes that she knows are mistakes with men, and she still goes down that road. But you're like, this is family now.
Killing me softly.
This is family now.
Can I say that the writers are doing a great job by building this up? You guys have a sense of humor. You guys.
Okay, I agree with you guys completely. You know what I mean? Absolutely. I cannot even believe that Nova is doing this. I am upset, okay? But just to play devil's advocate.
Ooh.
Oh, come on.
Come on. I did see a little talk on Twitter about, Charley didn't really want Remy anyway. He was a rebound. So does he really count as somebody that was a great love or something along those lines? I agree with you, but I'm just,
Quick question. If that was your sister?
Oh, absolutely not. I wouldn't even.
If that was your sister, Celi.
Let me tell you something.
That's not my friend. I don't even know. No, that's a defining character trait in my
Here's the
opinion.
thing, though.
Well, your sister, Celi?
If it were my sister.
Same scenario.
Look, same scenario. If it were my sister, there'd be some problems, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, though, that's my sister. So I think.
But if you're in Nova's position, would you even go down the road?
No.
Okay, so you would just be no. Way,
I don't. My sister and I, first of all, we even like the same type of dudes. But at the same time, I have to think if the roles were reversed, because I don't even get down like that. I'm not that type of chick. So if the roles were reversed, I'd be very angry. But I know this much about my family. We work it all out. So no matter what, she's my blood. I don't know how we're gonna get through it, but we're gonna get through it, because I'm not gonna just never speak to my sister ever again in her life. But it's I might slap her once. You know what I'm saying?
We haven't seen any inter-family no dynasty yet. Yeah. Candi, your sister.
Caroline. Caroline already. No. Listen to me, damn it. I'm gonna say damn it. I agree with you, Celi. Like, since when did y'all like the same men?
Right.
Like even the types, even when they were talking about the kind of guys they like when they were kids,
high school, right.
They made it very clear. You like the smart guys. I like the athletes.
And that's why Charley's gonna be so thrown. She's gonna be like,
dude,
what the?
Listen to me, Dr. Dubois. What's up? Where are you? We'd love for you to come back onto our show. We're waiting for you. Love to have you. Have a nice seat warmed over here for you. Writers, let's bring them on. Let's get this. Mike Flynn, writer, he was on our chat last week. Come, please, do something about this.
Yeah.
Talk to us.
I just have one thing to say. I agree with you guys, but I genuinely do not believe that he was a great love for Charley. And my question now becomes, no. And my question
Your
now
stay is about to be
no,
real.
No.
Engineers.
We all agree. No, we all agree. So
Who is we? Who are these we?
Listen, Jennifer, look at me, girl. You already know I would never. Okay, that's my sister.
It's been so good to have you on today's show, girl.
No, but I'm just saying. I gotta go. No, wait, guys, really, just hear me out. If Charley wants to be honest with herself, and if it was a situation where she knows that this man isn't really a thing for me, did not truly love him, this was not a thing for me, and she sees that there's a potential for him and Nova to be something real, just stay with me here.
Okay.
Can she be mature enough to say, you know what? I think you guys go for it.
No, because
can we
please not forget that he almost proposed to her?
Yeah.
Should I drop that bomb on you again. Can we
the
not
truth of the matter,
forget?
but that's rooted in him and his insecurities. I
Okay,
feel
we
like he's
already
in a
said
place
he getting
oh
written
yeah,
off,
okay, yeah,
okay?
it's him.
But
It's really him.
and don't forget season 1. Like this was a beautiful love affair between these two.
I was never
It was
a fan
season.
of theirs. I
Really?
never
Yeah.
saw
So
this
that's
really
where it's
being
really
a-
coming
Yeah.
from.
Yeah, he was never really the one for her. I never knew this. I never thought
She
this was
wasn't a
gonna be.
fan.
Yeah, no.
So that, now she's justifying the
because
ratchet.
season
No,
1.
I know
just
she's
go and be
trifling for this.
trifling.
She's trifling
I
for this.
Well, yeah.
And then you know that you're wrong. Again, back to your intention determining everything. If she did not know that she was wrong, she would have told her right then and there.
Of course,
Instead, you
yeah.
lied.
Yeah.
You lied, Nova, straight to your sister's face.
But people lie when they're afraid. People lie out of fear
of that they're doing something
Fear of
wrong.
Fear of being judged. Fear of how the person's going to react. Fear of hurting. Either way, lies are rooted in fear, as far as I'm concerned.
I'm not condoning any of it. Writers,
Well,
let's do something about this.
Well, when we get to predictions, I might predict a double homicide, which it's just like not gonna look good. But
Is it a prediction or a suggestion? Like, you know, a strong suggestion.
let's get the writers in here. But we do have some exciting segments. Let's go right into our sweet tweets.
Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. Well, you're looking at me, so I'll start. For sweet tweet, I love that you guys do that, by the way. Very clever, very cute. And I think my sweet tweet would have to be where Nova looks at Raw and she's like, Raw, just stay the course. And that speaks to what Candi was saying. It's easier always to be there for other people, but sometimes it's harder to be there for yourself. And mercy is what we show people when they don't ask for it, when they don't deserve it, and especially when we just give it, you know, for ourselves as well. So I think that is important for us to show mercy to one another, and that's what she meant by Raw, just stay the course, and you're going to make it on the other side okay.
You've been watching Fix My Life?
No, you know what?
You been watching Ayanna?
I haven't, but you know, that little preview that came on in between our commercial break made me be like, listen, I'm going to have to tune into Ayanna. That's my girl.
Mine was you're stubborn like your daddy. There's just something about, you know, even the bad stuff of our parents being compared to them brings us smiles, you know, to know that we're kind of like them, and her big old grin. And this might not be a tweet moment because it was in silence, but Nova saging the land
Oh my God,
was
great.
such a moment for me.
Yeah.
What?
So I would definitely be tweeting that, like, sage the land, girl. Yes.
Get the bad spirits, get the bad juju.
Right.
Oh my gosh, so many great tweetable moments. I have to agree with Thelma. I wanted to tweet the part before that part, the part that you said, where basically, you know, Nova was just like letting him know that you don't have to shoulder the burden alone. I wrote that down. Don't shoulder the burden alone. I think that we so easily do that, where we think that it's our burden to carry, when it's like, man, you have all of these amazing people around you, whether they're your friends or your family. Allow these people to help you carry that burden. So my tweetable moment is don't shoulder the burden alone.
I love that.
Yeah, and mine, which I already mentioned, 2 words, I'm in. So often I think, especially when we're younger and we're hot about a particular subject, we are just in without even thinking.
Yeah.
And I think Micah just said those 2 words too quickly without looking at all what was happening around him. And especially knowing your mom is Charley. She's not gonna. She don't even like them being in the house when it's a little messy.
You're getting back to private school, you go.
So and I think we can make these mistakes that can really detour our lives on a small little thing. So I'm concerned, but yeah, I'm in was like, whoa, for me. Like, that was a big moment, 'cause I think that's going to really affect Micah going forward.
Right.
So, but we got also a little bit of news.
We got the news.
Yeah.
So excited. Okay, fresh off the presses, y'all. Dawn-Lyen just announced that Kofi is going to be, he's starring in a new movie called Really Love, which is coming from Macro. And those who don't know Macro, they are behind like movies like Mudbound and Boots Riley's new film, Sorry to Bother You. They're the folks
Excellent
responsible
movie.
for
Just saw that. Yeah.
So the director is going to be Angel Christie Williams, and Kofi is going to star as the lead in the film. It's going to feature the first time. Angel is a first-time director, and she also co-wrote the script with Felicia A. Pride.
Nice.
The story is by Pride and Sanford Grimes. Charles D. King's Macro production company is behind it. You know, Fences and all that's another thing that they had. But they're slated to begin filming this summer in Baltimore and in DC. So other folks that are going to be in it are Kim Coleman. So that's exciting. So I'm happy to see Kofi back on the big screen.
Yes.
He'll always be Ralph Angel here, but
somebody on this panel loves her some Ralph Angel.
Listen, we just all go together.
But I'm sure you guys want to know what the movie's about. Sorry, I got all excited just about Kofi. But the movie is about the gentrification of Washington, D.C., following the rising of a black painter who Kofi's going to be playing. It's surrounding around him, and who tries to break into the competitive art world while balancing a whirlwind romance he never expected. So it's going to be really cool to see him be like this tagger, this rebel, this artist.
I just can't wait to see him as an artist, as a
Come
painter.
on, Kofi.
He's gonna look really rugged. I can see it now. Oh my god!
She already has sketches in her.
We can pregame in my house, guys. We go together.
We're on for it all the way. Let's do it.
And we did get a nice little preview of the next few episodes, but let's go into our predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I can't. I love it.
Okay. Who wants to go first? Not me.
Well, I'm a guest. I'll be here. I'll go.
Okay.
Well, we didn't really see a lot from Vi this episode in terms of her relationship, because we did leave it a little rocky last episode with the conversation about changing your name and things like that. So I think next episode we're going to see more from Hollywood, where we see him kind of deal with who he really is, because I think when people are very married to the idea of being needed, it shows that they're not really whole, which can be a problem. So I'm really excited to see what happens. Yeah, because I stand with Vi all the way. I don't think that changing your name is a matter of commitment necessarily only. So yeah, I want to see how Hollywood deals with that.
Jeez, how do you follow up that? That's a great prediction.
Just dropped it on
Dropping mics all over the place. So I predict that Charley is going to come into the fold with the other side of the Landry family. I've been predicting that for a long time, that like her and her boo that she denies but she want to be with, that they're going to join forces, because I've always been under the inclination that there is good in him. He's just wrapped up in the wrong family. So I think they're going to join forces to take down this whole shebang.
Wow.
And that's mine.
That's a great one.
Okay, y'all. I love y'all's predictions. Okay, so I'm going to take it back to Prosper, and I wrote this down. I said this earlier in the episode.
Don't do that.
It's not what you think. It's not what you think.
Because I had that moment. Did y'all have that moment? I thought he was dead.
I thought he had passed.
We all had that moment.
Why did they give us that weird pause moment? Bizarre.
Because I knew the writers knew
Yeah,
what they
like-
were doing.
It's too soon for them to do that to us. I really like his role
Can
right
I
now.
tell y'all? Can I tell
Girl,
y'all
we're ready.
what
Tell
I
us,
predict?
tell us.
It's not what
Sorry.
y'all think. It's not. Okay, I was just going to say, it feels like this move is going to break his heart. We're going to see his heart just be broken little by little by little, and he's just going to slowly start to just... And hopefully, hopefully, he can find some kind of way to get his inspiration and his strength back. Because right now, when he said the quote, "This home is all I have," I just wanted to cry, because he has been in this home for how many years?
40? Yeah.
For 40-something years. This is all he knew, and it's just like, so I'm really hoping and praying that he can pull his strength from somewhere. Also, I want to say this about Ralph Angel. I am really hoping that Ralph Angel and Darla can pull this together. If not, I feel like Darla's going to take Ralph Angel to court.
Wow.
Period.
Yeah.
And done.
Full
Okay,
stop.
Shaka, where are we?
Prosper. I didn't know if they were trying to like make it look like he might go in the future, but I actually think he'll do well. He's around family now, and I don't think he believes it yet, but he will start to believe it.
Yeah.
You already saw him and Micah do the fist bump. That I thought was pretty cool.
So cute.
He's like learning. He's kind of so I think he's becoming more into the fold. I just love that he's become like a real character in the series.
Right.
I think Nova and Charley, I think we might get a dynasty type fight. You remember the good old days, those knockout drag downs? Like
I would really hope not.
You remember when Charley came on that basketball court, right? You remember when Charley came on that basketball court? I think you're going to see Charley a little bit more lit up than that. Because this doesn't even make I mean, it's equally like a big bombshell as the whole Davis thing.
The fact that they walked in holding hands, Oh, man.
But the very last thing we need, like what did they show in Love Is yesterday? The very last thing we need are two black women fighting over another man.
But it does happen. But it happens.
But it's not over the man. It's a respect thing.
Yeah.
It's a respect thing. It's a respect thing. And I want to say this.
My name.
I want to say this. The siblings have been so tight knit this entire season.
Right.
It's going to
finally
in this season they finally were able to pull it together. In the first two seasons, all we saw was just distension and just fighting and just so much going on. So it's like, let's be honest, guys. We really didn't think that something was just going to come out of nowhere at some point in time and kind of screw things up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This is the first, something had to happen.
And you're going to see that anger because you remember Charley's move. She's relocated her life.
Yeah.
These are her only two supports. They know what just happened with Davis. You know what I'm going through, and then this is what you choose.
And do you guys really believe that? Do you really believe that Nova really is really feeling him like this? Do you really think this is a true love of hers?
This is no.
She ain't got a
this
job.
This is not even a real thing. How dare you?
Remy likes vulnerable.
Rip you and your sister's relationship apart for this.
Remy has to go. Remy, you gotta go.
Yeah,
you
gotta go. He's just a fake supporter.
Remy likes vulnerable women. In season 1, he was in love with Charley. When she finally found herself, and then he's going to tell her what to do, and then that became an issue. Nova's vulnerable right now, and we know that Nova is in a cycle of making the wrong choices when it comes to, even when she gets it right with with the doctor, she makes the wrong choice and backs up. So I think we're going to see some I think we're going to get that fight. It's going to happen, right?
Sure.
How do you not at least give her one
Remy
slap?
is just, he's a conditional lover. I do not like him.
And not to mention, Charley needs to take out this anger on somebody. I'm not condoning that the sisters fight, but she needs to release.
Yeah, and I'm hoping.
Release on David.
And of course, I'm hoping this doesn't happen, but I'm pretty sure Mike is going to get arrested again.
Oh,
so yeah,
we could do that.
It seems like they set him up just the way they were talking. Oh, I do this, I do that. Oh, looks like you're stuck with being the lookout. Something kind of didn't seem right.
And it's just weird that he can't even see it. It's just he's so wrapped up in wanting to belong that he cannot.
And who knows
that
they're trying to set him up from some kiki pat? I don't know, but either way, it doesn't look good. I think Mike is in trouble there.
And we have to shout out Takira. Takira just jumped in the live chat and said, "I told y'all I didn't trust Remy." Hey, Takira,
yes,
girl.
Takira.
Big shout out to Takira.
We feel this. I do not like Remy either.
And we had a lot of you joining us in the chat. So Marianne Jordan, Marsha Cray, Miss Chris Brown 416. So just really Sienna and Bryce. So just glad you guys are joining us in the chat. We really appreciate it. Again, we're gonna be back next week. I'm excited. It's gonna be a crazy next week's gonna be the crazy episode. You already know.
Oh man.
Again, guys, my name is Shaka Smith. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Shaka Strong.
Hey guys, always a pleasure to be with you. It is Miss Candi Marie, and you can find me on Instagram at Miss Candi Marie and on Twitter at Sweet Candor TV.
Hang out with your favorite Afro-Latina at Celi Hangout from Celi Chapman. Yay.
All right, guys, I'm Thelma Mbaezue-Daniel. You can find me on Instagram at Thelmy and Twitter at Moxie Soul.
See you guys next week.
Adios.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.